minns ju den tid du gav mig life billar yo. Nu vill jag kunna ge tillbaka allt jag inte kunna ge förut. Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh why. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för det baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. Och det jag lägger är min tid. Jag vill ha dig. Du får mig känna safety. Jag kan nog leda dig baby. Och jag kommer aldrig ändra mig. Aldrig.
Who does that? I can feel all the pain, see they go through me. I know how you miss me. I know who say you can pray for me every day, cause all your blessings they reach me. Mama, they walk out every day, so I go come find you. Ooh, I got things to for talk about mommy. I get much for tell you, me sweet mommy. I keep one come find you, but now we better no day. This city life you know easy. I get buckets in my mind for tell you, me sweet mommy. I keep one come find you, but now we better no day. You order ready for receive me self low, and I'm over ready. They say I'm lucky, but them don't know how you they pray for me every day, every night. You can go hungry, you they intercede for me, you they fast for make I see the light. When I win the Grammy, I just know that you've prepared a speech you can give on the night. Banyali nepo mama jigawa, bidi jibibi ma kole gulundo. You sabi bell me, call me papa, uncle JJ, if you want send me for make I do you work. All the deep cries where you they cry where I don't know, but I don't feel all the pains. You say good getting a passport for me, I don't know. Now I dey fly many place. I no go quit for nobody, no go follow any bad body. I no go forget me bigger dreams. I always know say na God the D. Yeah, sweet mommy, I keep one can find you, but now we better no day. This city life you know easy. I get buckets in my mind for tell you, me sweet mommy. I keep one can find you, but now we better no day. You order ready for receive me self low, and I'm over ready.
Peace. Bye-bye. How you doing, man?
Hey, Chief, how you doing, man? What's going on with you?
It's been a minute. Everybody out there, welcome y'all to Gullah House Show. We have a dynamic show for y'all today, something that has never been done in this kind of way, as usual. But I myself, I'm Mansa Fodel Jamu, co-host of the Gullah House Show. Baba Kimo is here with me as well as our co-host. Today, we have the honor of bringing the brother by the name of Meshach King, a researcher, genealogist, youth activist, a brother from Sierra Leone heritage who was born in America, raised in America, has a background in music, historical research and documentation, and just an all-around dynamic brother just to bring to the platform and show some people who he actually is, man. We'll talk about it later, but Baba Kimo, what's going on in Orangeburg, man? You know, it's been a minute since we was able to get live.
Well, Chief, yeah, as you well know yourself, going on over there where you're at, it's been a lot going on. But you, man, you had a little scary adventure with the politics going on in Sierra Leone. Oh man, I was worried about you, cuz. I was worried about you, man. Wasn't able to hear from you for 24 hours, and you know, it was crazy times, man. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, man, you know, I wanna say that there was definitely a security scare in the country. I won't go too far into it because we don't really do the politics on our platform. But there was, according to the media and the government, there was an attempted coup d'etat, attempted military takeover of the government. And right now we're still under curfew. The government put us under curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. every day. We've been on curfew for like the last 2 weeks. And so they've been investigating and making arrests and, you know, trying to wrap up this thing. But what happened at the time actually was something that was a blessing. We had a family here that was going for their citizenship. And we had a very rough ride, man. Unfortunately, man, you know, getting all the way to Kenema, getting all the way deep into the Gullah rainforest area to the village of Belebu. We got there, and for those who don't know, Belebu is located in Tunkia Chiefdom in Kenema, Eastern Sierra Leone. They say about 12 miles away from the Liberian border. That's how far deep it is into the rainforest area. So we was there taking them for their historic homecoming. These people was a grandmother, her daughter, and then a grandson. So 3 generations had DNA tested, came back to Mende descent, and you know, they did the right thing. They chose Gullah Dugu. It came through. So we was going on that mission, man, that road trip, and even just getting there was kind of rough. The vehicle that we chose was kind of not typically the kind of vehicle we would take, and I was just reading signs, difficulty with the fuel and things like that. I said, man, this is, you know, when there's a lot of difficulties that typically wouldn't be there, there's a reason for it happening. Maybe later on you'll find out why all that was going on, right? And this was one of them situations because we turned around to return back to Freetown from Belebu, and our vehicle broke down. While the vehicle was broke down, before we got to reach Freetown, the coup started. So we was about maybe 10 miles away from the Freetown Peninsula when we were stopped by soldiers and told to park up, that we couldn't go no farther. Everybody had to stop. So they were stopping every vehicle on the highway, like, go park, go park, go park. And we parked up in a place where we didn't know anybody, but the community was very embracing, man. That's one thing I love about Salon culture, man. When it's crisis time, you really get to see the humanity in people. And man, they let us use their bathrooms, man. You know what I'm saying? They fed us while we was out there. Shout out to the community of Mile 38. That's where we was at. People in Sierra Leone know where that's at. Shout out to the beautiful people out there, man. They didn't mind opening their doors, their restrooms, everything to us. And the other people who got caught up in the fiasco that wasn't able to you know, get home to Freetown and got caught up on the road while the coup was taking place. So that's what was going on with us, man. Come to find out, the coup actually started about, you know, a few, you know, not far away from my house. You know what I'm saying? There was a military barracks that was attacked, and you know, the armory was attacked, and that's like right here where I live. I could throw a stone and hit it. So had I been here, I would have heard and I would have heard everything. It would have at least been close enough for me to hear the guns going off at 2 a.m. They were shooting all morning, from what I hear. But fortunately, we was not here on the ground. We was on the road. We was actually safer than what we would have been at home at that time. So that's how it was. And for y'all out there, we was coming home so I can get on this show 2 weeks ago, so we can get Sister Candace on the show.
Right.
And you know, shout out to Sister Candace. She was very understanding, and she's currently in Cameroon, if I'm not mistaken. She's doing the homecoming right now, and we're going to get her back on the show. When she get back, she's going to have a story to tell and share with the people. So shout out to Sister Candace, and so that's what was going on, Baba, for real. But what's been going on out there? I know it's been about a month.
Yeah, it's been about a month or so since our last episode, but that's an incredible story. Adventure you and Kenya been through, man. I'm glad y'all safe and everything. Yeah, and you're right about Kansas. She's over in Cameroon visiting her home village, her home people and everything. And here in Orangeburg, we just doing the same old things what I normally do. Made some more interesting researches and everything, and we'll find out when we talk to this young man here. And if you're ready to bring him out, man, let's bring him on out and get into it.
Well, I'm looking forward, definitely. What I want to do, I have short snippets. It's about 2 minutes and a half. I want to just play each of these snippets real quick. This is some of the brother's work. Again, this brother, you can find him on YouTube. The Last Griot. This brother is dynamic. His name is Meshach King. Leonean American. He's going to come tell you more about himself. But I just want to show the viewers out there some of this brother's work. Some of you may be familiar with it. If not, make sure you go and you like and you follow this brother's page. His work is groundbreaking for this generation. And with no further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and play these videos for y'all.
The Gullah people are a sub-tribe of the Koya clan from Liberia. During the Mani invasion, it is highly likely that the Koya who went north and conquered the Baga would become the Timni, and the Koya who remained in the southern region of Sierra Leone by the Liberian border would become the Gullah. So the Gullah are a combination of the Mani from the Mandinka clan, the Koya clan from Liberia, and the indigenous Bolom people. This makes them closely related to the Timni, the Baga, Shebro, Mende, and Kisi tribes as well. The Gullah people are also called the Gullah, and during the transatlantic slave trade, many slaves were captured from the Gullah tribe as well as Mende and sent to the Sea Islands of South Carolina to work on rice plantations due to their specialty in this field. The Gullah and Gisi people of Sierra Leone and the Bantu people from Angola are said to be the origin of the name Gullah Geechee in South Carolina, though most scholars would agree that the word.
All right, so that's the first one. We're going to the second one. Brother, you got some dynamic content. Dynamic.
That was nice right there, man. That was dope. I like that.
Oh yeah. So here go number 2 right here.
Before the movement of the early and mid-1900s by black revolutionaries, the very first movement started in 1782 up to 1871, and the first points of return that would occur would be to Sierra Leone and Liberia. The Americo-Liberians are closely related to the Sierra Leone Creole people, not only historically and culturally, but also ancestrally. The Sierra Leone Creole people formed through 4 waves of migration. For more details on this account, watch my playlist called the Sierra Leone series on my channel. There is a full video available, or you can watch it in 6 parts. The biggest wave of settlers stemmed from the liberated Africans. This wave would last from 1808 to 1871, and between this time, over 80,000 Africans were liberated and resettled. After 1807, any slaves illegally taken from the west coast origin stemming from a female leader called Masariko, who was expelled from the Mali Empire after offending the Mansa because she thought his leadership was weak, and left with a large army of Mani warriors who helped her conquer, subjugate, and absorb the native tribes of the new lands and forced their prisoners of war to join their army. Historically and culturally, though, a more precise location of origin would be Kabu. The Mani were warlords and rulers.
There you go. So there you go. This is some of the brothers' work. Yeah, man. He's sharp. So with no further ado, Baba Kimo, if I have your permission, I'll be bringing forward our brother, Meshach King.
Bring him on out.
All right, I say. Salute. Peace, brother.
Peace. How y'all doing today, man?
We're doing good, man. Doing good. Been anticipating this dialogue, man. We wanting to bring this conversation to the people.
Vice versa. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for the work that you do. To me, being, in that lane, understanding how important it is to dig up this particular information, I really appreciate your contribution. Typically, when people come on, the first question is always, who are you? Identify yourself. But I want you to definitely tell the people out there, who you are and a little bit about your background so they can put you in the context as we move forward with the conversation.
Most definitely. My name is Meshach King. I was born in the States, Raleigh, North Carolina. I was raised a little bit out there, raised in the VA area as well. I was going back and forth a lot coming up, you know what I mean? And my parents are both Sierra Leoneans as well. My father, he's from the Creole ethnic group. And my mother, my father's actually Creole and Shebro. And then my mom, she's Mandinka, Timni, Limba, Kono, and Mendi. So she got a lot going on her side, But Yeah, just growing up, I feel like the seeds were always planted for me when it came to African history, because I remember my father, he used to always tell me the story about how the Creole people formed and where we came from, our origins, and how we were scattered all into these different regions in the diaspora, how we were able to back to the continent and form our own communities. And I remember as a child, when you're young, sometimes you think things are going over your head, but they're really being planted as a seed within your subconscious. You know what I mean? So it's like, as I got older, like I always had interest in watching like long documentaries or looking up different historical articles and stuff like that. But it was just kind of random at first. I didn't have any real, I was kind of like a conspiracy theorist when I was younger, you know what I mean? But then like once I started
Yeah.
focusing it into actual areas or certain topics, I noticed that African history became like a really big thing for me. Like feeling that I would get from it. It was like it was like another form of reading for me. You know what I mean? Like most people, they'll read a book or they'll watch a movie for some form of entertainment or some form of, you know what I mean, stimulating their mind. But it's like when I was doing this ancestral work or looking up this African history, it felt like it was literally like it still feels like a slideshow just playing through my head. You know what I mean? It's like I'm literally seeing it like a movie within my head play out, and it's like it was just this spiritual connection from the
Yeah.
that I've always had with it. And what really inspired the research is that I remember 2023, like 3 years ago now, like 2020, um, during the pandemic, randomly I just thought to myself, because I always remembered my father saying that the Creole people weren't indigenous to Sierra Leone and that we settled later. You know what I mean? So it's like I remember one day I was just thinking to myself, so if we're not indigenous to Sierra Leone, or if we came here from America, the Caribbean, Nova Scotia, and all these different places, where did we originally come from? You know what I mean? So then I thought to myself, I was like, I want to figure that out. I want to get to the bottom of this, you know? And I decided to take a ancestry test to see what my results would come back as, or to see if I had like admixtures that came from places outside of Sierra Leone. And Lord and behold, when I got my results back, I had a little variety of different things going on. I had I remember I was like 61% Mali. So the Mali on Ancestry, they'll name different countries of origin, but sometimes those countries cover a larger radius of the region. You know what I mean? So one
Right.
thing that I like about Ancestry is that they actually don't use the border. You know what I mean? Because it's like let's say you have X amount of Amali percentage within your DNA. It's not only pointing you at Mali, it's showing you the radius of the empire had expanded to, or
Yeah.
different where the
Yeah.
man people had touched. You know what I mean? So it's like instead of just showing Mali, it'll show Guinea, it'll show Sierra Leone, it'll include Burkina Faso, it'll include Guinea-Bissau, parts of Senegambia. You know what I mean? So it's like that was the first part of it. And then I had about almost 30% Nigerian. So when I was trying to conclude where everything was coming from and the dynamics of it, basically I was able to put together that the Mali DNA predominantly came from my mother's side, due to her own ancestry, and then another part of it had come from the Shebro side of my father. But the
Okay.
Nigerian aspect comes from the story of the liberated Africans, basically. So I've been able to document a whole lot of my mother's side of the family going back centuries now, because most of their oral traditions have been passed down a lot of their records have been kept in different communities that they had set up in different periods of time. But from my father's side, due to the fact that our ancestors on that side were affected by the slave trade, of course, as most of us in the diaspora know, it's like that kind of made the history hazy of who's who, where they came from, and you know what I mean. So I had to get to the bottom of that, and I just kept falling deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole, you know. So I started looking deeper into my paternal history to try to see if I could really find the origins of it. And I started using sites like, this is a good site for everyone too. It's called www.familysearch.org or .com, one of the two.
Yeah.
Set up an account on there, and it shows you, it gives you a database to people all over the world, but specifically it gives you African records of people from different parts of West Africa, of records that date all the way back to like the early 1800s and mid 1800s, when a lot of these activities were going on. You know what I mean? So when I looked up my grandfather's birth certificate on this website, and he was born in 1921. So when I found his record, you know, on the birth certificate, it'll list the parents, and then it'll list the ethnicity or tribal affiliation, you know. So instead of, I noticed when I looked at my great grandfather's name and my great grandmother's name, they didn't have any tribal affiliation or even a country where they felt that they originated from. Under their names, it just said liberated African descendants. And I remember prior, I came upon this revelation not too long before I made the Sierra Leone series. But initially, growing up, I always assumed that there was only two waves of how the Creoles had formed, and that was, I had assumed that that was through the Nova Scotians who came to Freetown in 1792, and through the Maroons who came from Jamaica in 18. But prior to making the video, the more I started digging deeper into it, because I wanted to make sure everything was polished, I started realizing like, wow, this thing gets deeper than I really thought. It's not even two waves. It's really like four different waves. And the first wave was 1786 or 7. This is Revolutionary War. After all of the loyalists that fought on the British side were relocated in Nova Scotia, some of them were also sent to London as well too. And then when they were sent to London, they were referred to as the Black Poor of London. But those were the first ones. That was the first group that settled in Sierra Leone, and then that's how Granville Town came about. And then the second wave, before I even get to the second wave, after they settled in Granville Town, they were getting into issues with the Timney. And once the Timney came and got retribution back for the different things that the Granville settlers were doing, then they were reduced from about 270 to like 64 settlers. So now they're thinking the British are thinking, wow, so we're gonna have to repopulate this land that we just brought. So now they went to Nova Scotia, and this is the 1792 wave, but there was only about 1,200 of them. And then the 100 wave of the Maroons, that was only about 550 to 600. But then when I looked at the liberated Africans, thousands, almost 100,000 people from 1807 to 1871. So I'm really thinking like, wow, this is the main chunk of where most of this ancestry comes from. For the modern Creole people today, a majority of their ancestry, it has to come from the liberated Africans, because the other waves, the numbers of them were too small to even compete with this. The liberated Africans would have automatically just drowned out all of the other waves. Continue. So now I'm going back to my grandpa's birth certificate. I'm remembering the liberated African descent thing under his name that he identified under, and I'm doing more. And then I'm looking at the data, and just making sense out of it. So when I did my father's test, he was like 53% Nigerian, and then he had admixtures from other African countries as well too. And when you look up the liberated African people who were settled in Sierra Leone, a lot of them came from, they say that they came from Nigeria, Ghana, Benin, Congo, and Senegambia, but they said that they were predominantly taken from the Yoruba people and the Hausa people as well too. You know, so that's what kind of gave me more confirmation that my father's side came from, or his direct paternal side came from the Nigerian lineages of the Creole that settled there.
Right. Right.
And it's just kind of been like a journey for me to kind of like get past certain brick walls right now. You know, like right now, my great grandfather is the brick wall, and I'm trying to reconnect into my modern Nigerian families from that side. Like from ancestry, I found different Nigerian families that I'm related to for a fact. You know what I mean? But in regards to my direct side that my great grandfather came from, I haven't found that direct King family yet. You know what I mean? Like it's just a journey right now. And from my maternal side, I've been able to gather a lot. From her side, she's a Tarawali. In Sierra Leone, their community is within McKinney in the village of Robuya.
Okay.
The oral, yeah, in the North provinces and stuff. So the oral tradition from that is that my 2 times grandfather came to Sierra Leone from Mali, and he came through Panlap, and then from Panlap he settled in Robuya, and he became the chief of that village. I believe they call the chief there Masayeli, the Masayeli of Robuya, and then his lineage had continued there up into the present. But when I started digging deeper into that, I remember that would see my parents, they kept planting seeds, but they didn't know that, you know, I was gonna grow up and start get into it and stuff. But my mom used to always tell me, she was like, you know we royalty, right? You know we royalty. Used to say that, and it's like, as a little kid, you know, I didn't know any better. You know, I'm thinking like I'm thinking like King's Palace in London type of, you know what I mean, type of royalty that she was referring to and stuff like that. And then like I never really paid it any mind until I got older and gained more consciousness for myself. And I never really used to tell people that either. You know, I think this is even the first time I'm disclosing this to you too. But I never really used to tell people that, like, growing up, because it's like I ain't want to ever come off no way, or like as if, you know, I'm trying.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never really mentioned it. But it just sat in the back of my head for a while. And then when I started this ancestral journey again, those seeds came back, and I started thinking like, let me really look into this. So I'm trying to make sense out of it. If what made him leave Mali and come to Sierra Leone, and then I understand that he was able to conquer the land that he settled in, and claim his chief title. But what made the people feel like we should make this guy the chief? Who is this guy? Where did he come from? Who is his family? What, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to make sense.
That's a good question.
Yeah, you know, because technically he would have been a foreigner. So it's like, what made everybody say we're gonna, you know? So
but you know what? Hey, real quick, hey, you say in your video, almost everybody here came from somewhere else.
Exactly. You right though. So it shouldn't have been hard for them to. It wouldn't have been that far off for them to accept that. That's a fact. You know, but so I started going deeper into it, And theoretically, my 2 times great grandfather would have been born in the 1890s or so, or 1880s or so. So when I go back to that time period in history, this is pretty close to the period when the French were starting to fully colonize Mali. Yeah. So that's when I learned about the Kenadougou Empire, and their empire fell in 1898 to the French colonialists. So I started connecting the dots, and as of right now, I believe that my 2 times great grandfather was likely the son of either Tieba Traore or Babemba Traore. These were the last 2 rulers of Kenadougou. So Traore, for those who are viewing, who probably, Traore is the French version of the surname Tarawali. In English West Africa, like Gambia, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria, they'll refer to it as Tarawali, but in French speaking countries they'll say Traore. You know, so Babemba Traore, that was the last king of Kenadougou. After he was defeated by the French in 1898 or so, this created a large influx of Mandingos from Mali and Guinea to start flooding into Sierra Leone. And if it wasn't due to the colonialists from the French that were taking over the region, it was also due to jihadists as well too. So those who were fleeing Islam, and then those who were also fleeing the colonialists, they began to settle in Guinea and Sierra Leone. When you start history about the Mandingos of Salon, so
it's
the
interesting. That's
people
very interesting, man.
similarities. It's like Kenadougou in Mali. Also, when you go to Sierra Leone, the very northern province of the northern tip of Sierra Leone is Koinadougou district. But Koinadougou and Kenadougou are really just interchangeable. You know what I mean? But once they came to Sierra Leone, the spelling of it has probably changed. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's like, in order to go to Panlap, that's the same route that my great grandfather took when he settled in Rabuya. He would have also had to have come through Koinadougou as well too. That would. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, that's how I was able to.
It's interesting because you know how when the Europeans migrated and conquered the world, they made new settlements and they just named them after their old settlements. New York, New Amsterdam, you know. And what I found in the history of Manding is the same thing. That everywhere we moved, we kind of use the same names over and over again. Like, for instance, the main headquarters for Mandingo population here in Sierra Leone, where they're most concentrated, is called Karina. But Karina is also the place where Sundiata defeated Sumanguru. So, you know what I mean? And then you have the Kono people, but then you have Konomani in Mali, the place. And then you said Konadougou. We're talking about the Korenko people now, right? Yeah. Mandingo people. And so it's interesting what you're saying, because when I got back, when I came here, it was Mandingo people in the north that I first got connected with. It was up in Buriwa Chiefdom, Balandugu section, the village of Bonoya. They have the same exact story. Their family came from Kankan area. They came down in a migration group. They settled. The natives was running from them at first because they had firepower, and you know, they were strong. They was physically, in numbers and in military might, strong. And you know, they married into the native family, and that's how they ended up having the ability to be sovereign on the ground. And so you're right. It's very interesting you would say that, because to me it looks like Sierra Leone was populated or repopulated from, I'll say, about the 1500s up until early 1900s. And in those waves you find Manding speaking people from different ethnic groups arriving and forming new ethnic groups over and over again. I'm talking about for centuries, the same centuries that was taking us out of here. So it seems like there was an ethnogenesis that was happening here among the Manding people, and then there was an ethnogenesis that also was happening to their descendants in America, in places like North Carolina, where you're from, South Carolina, where Baba is at. I want to make the connection here a little bit, just to bring it all back full circle, because I asked you to identify yourself, and what you did was you identified a whole empire. You identified your relationship to a history that's been lost to us. And I just want to say, like, again, I commend you. Myself and my cousin, Baba Kimo, we start the same way. What I heard from my mama and what I went out and find for myself later, and referencing that and keep going. Baba Kimo did the same thing. Your name is the Last Griot. I believe it's the tradition of griots that we're maintaining, at least for our family lineages. That there alone makes you royalty, if you understand the Manding cultural heritage. But yeah, bro, I really appreciate you for that. So, Baba Kimo, I know you got something to say.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to jump in here because we have a unique relationship with this young man. And I took the ancestry test myself a couple of years ago. That's even how me and you connected. But the unique thing about this is this young man shares a cousin with me through ancestry. People that watch the show have heard us talk about Fatia, and Fatia is my fifth generation, is our fifth generation cousin, and a cousin to this young man here. We found her through ancestry, and
absolutely,
I never forget the first time I spoke to her. I was telling him before he came on the show that first time I spoke to her was I was at work, and I did that little dance, and I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, this is really happening. I'm talking to an actual Mende person from the continent who through DNA is related to me, and it's just amazing. And then you came through, Meshach, with your email one morning, was it one evening or something? Say, oh, wait a minute, that name sounds familiar to me. And you showed me the exact same picture that showed up in my account. And I'm like, oh God, man, this is
hey, look, we cannot make this stuff up, man. Just for those out there who might be thinking this is a thing. If you look at Meshach's face and his features, and you look at my features, I can say this is my little brother and get it off anywhere in the world. I can say, yo, this is my little brother, and anybody believe it right now. That's you know what I mean? And so it's the thing about lineage that we're talking about, and the hidden bloodlines. You know, the secrets that's out there, the things that we don't know, and what's really pulling us to this knowledge. I had a conversation with you, I think last week we was talking. You was giving me analogy from the Yoruba tradition, the Egba, and you were saying how you know, before we're born, we already belong to a family. You know what I'm saying? We're a spiritual family, and we enter a pact, an agreement with each other. Can you elaborate on that? Because you was breaking that John down, and I would definitely want to highlight that analogy on the show.
Most definitely. In the Yoruba tradition of Ifa, they have something referred to as your Egba. So within that, before you incarnate onto this earth, the Almighty Creator, who the Yoruba refer to as Oludumare, while you're in heaven, you sit down and you talk to your Creator, and you talk about what you're gonna do in this lifetime, the task that you're gonna complete, and all of the good, the bad, the tribulations, the blessings, everything that's gonna come along the way. These are the things that are discussed while you're in heaven. And almost imagine it as if you're at a round table. You also talk to your Egba room, and that is like your spiritual family. That's like your first family, your first set of friends, your first group of coworkers. It's all in one. And as you're just like how we're all sitting here on these different windows right now speaking to each other, it's almost like the same thing. You know what I mean? Some of these people at this table could be spiritual friends, some of them could be spiritual brothers, sisters, girlfriends, husbands, wives, whatever the relation is. You know what I mean? You could be sitting there with them and discussing the things that must be done here on earth, or the things that must be completed, or the things that haven't been completed. You have people there that are going to be talking about how they're going to help you, how they'll assist you, at what point they'll join you, when you need to return back, you know, everything of that nature. So it's like when you're here on earth, as you're going about your days and you're figuring yourself out and you're trying to find yourself and figure out what your purpose is here on this earth or in this lifetime, you have spiritual support. There's so many layers of protection that our people have that is crazy. It gets so much deeper than we think. You know what I mean? So it's like they refer to angelic protection, they refer to the protection of God, but in Ifa or the Yoruba tradition, you also have that Egbe protection as well too. These are almost like an angelic force, or it's like a follow-up for you as you're progressing through your life. You know what I mean? So it's like, just like how I'm meeting you guys here right now, we're speaking and we've been going back and forth, chopping it up for a while now. It's like these are discussions and things that we may have already discussed in heaven or already discussed in the previous lifetime. You see what I'm saying? It's like, even though you have your comrades in heaven who are still watching over you, protecting you or guiding you or making sure that things go according to the plan that was laid out, some of them will join you here as well too. You know what I mean? So like, you guys may have gotten here first, and then I may have came down later down the road and joined you guys as well too. But we all are able to recognize each other no matter what point in time that we met each other or how long it's been since we've known each other. The spiritual amount of time that we may have known each other is I can't even put a number on it, because when you run to where your plan or your mission or your goals are aligned with one another in such a divine way, and even interconnect with each other, like how with Fatia, how we have that mutual connection with her too. None of these things are coincidence. You know, we continuously spring back up through the blood. You know what I mean? And we'll always be interconnected through the blood as well too. Whether it's within this lifetime, the past, the next, the blood is the blood. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the DNA won't die, because that's who we are. You know what I mean? Even when all three of us are currently here, whatever continuation that we've left behind or we will leave behind will always continue us, and we'll continuously spring back up and either complete the mission or complete new missions that are set out in front of us to be able to do.
Very interesting you should say that, because
that makes a lot of sense to me, man.
Chief and I always say that this has been a spiritual journey for us, because it's not anything special that I don't think I do. It's just already been laid out.
Yeah.
And I'm just going with the flow. You know what I'm saying? And I truly believe that, because DNA don't lie, and these, as Chief can attest to, these things that have been happening to me on a personal level, it's just been amazing.
Yeah.
It's just been amazing. Because not only have I connected with Fatia, I keep connected over and over with people from Salone. You know. Yeah. From right around that same geographical area.
Yeah. Nah, no doubt,
the
man.
Same area. Mende Mendinka, the same area. It's amazing. It's amazing doing the genetic genealogy. My main thing that I'm most passionate about is the genealogy and storytelling. I like to learn the history surrounding the lineage and elaborating on that. So, give more of a vision of how we may have behaved and the kind of social structures we may have lived in. For me, it's that aspect of the memory that I like to recall. Baba is always recalling like how the old folk was, in Cope. Like Cope is our common place in Orangeburg. Definitely got common ancestry in that particular place in South Carolina. Now, through people like Fatia or Ben Coley, and even yourself, because we have to investigate this relationship closer. You understand? You might have other Black American relatives that we can verify as our own kin too. It might, if you share Fatia, you probably share some other people too. And so, I remember you was telling me before of your King ancestry and how at first originally you thought it was from the Nova Scotians, related to Boston King, but after the DNA test that kind of shifted. Like, oh, hold up, you know what I mean? And so as you encounter new information that challenges what you always known, or even sometimes reinforces what you already know. We go through the sensations of it as well. But for you, for yourself, when you find one of them nuggets, man, when you get one of them gems, like the other day when you was like, hey man, Fatia, what the hell? I got Fatia as my own cousin too. This is crazy.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing thing, man. I want to ask you, what was it like growing up in the States?
Man, I say really growing up in the States, it was like a perfect yin and yang. For me, I would say it was my life experience was like a perfect yin and yang. You know what I mean? I was able to experience life from both sides of the fence. I had times in my life where, things were really good, the way we were living and, the things going on were really positive and high vibrational, and then I've had times where that wasn't so much the case, and, it just kind of was what it was. But what I can say out of all of that, though, is one thing that was always consistent, no matter what was going on around me or, no matter what was going on around me was my family structure. I always had a good family. You know what I mean? My father and mother, they always did everything that they could. They always made sure that we knew the foundation of love, unity, and just appreciating that connectivity we have with one another, and we've endured times of separation from each other and stuff like that. But I feel like that just they only reinforced the it just reinforced the importance of family and just being there for those people around you and stuff like that. Other than that though, I didn't really do too much. I was always into music, just regular things. I didn't really I didn't really have too many crazy hobbies like that. You know what I mean? I was always either music based, history based, or I was just kind of outside,
So let me ask you this real quick, right? And then I'm gonna let Baba chop it up with you for a minute.
Yeah.
You from North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Raleigh.
Yeah.
You got a lot of family in Orangeburg, man, in Aiken.
Yeah.
And surrounding area as well. Just from talking to you, man. I passed that information on to Baba Akimo as well. Let him look at it. He know a lot more about the families and who they're related to and all that down there. So I've definitely shared the information with Baba Akimo. But for me, it's like, I want to ask, did you ever even imagine, did you even think like, yo, I got family out here in America? It's not just my parents. Like through my parents, I still got family out here.
Nah, no, I didn't. I didn't. Actually, I mean, I don't think I even thought about it. I never even really thought about it, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? It wasn't until the thought of that probably didn't even start occurring to me until during that time period where I was like, hold on, so where did the Creole people come from? And I'm going through that whole little thing, you know. So once I got the results back and I'm seeing all my matches, and then before I even got my results back, because it's always gonna be, every time it's something good, there's gonna be some bad that come with it. So even with the ancestry test, like I saw people saying reviews like, "Oh, fake, it's this, it's that." So I was like, "All right, I'm gonna find out." You know what I mean? So when I went and took the test, as during the process of me waiting for the test, and even a little bit before I submitted it, I already was started doing research, and so I want to make sure when I get these results, if I can't align any data or historical or historical facts from my own lineage into this, then I'll know what's up. You know what I mean? So it's like when I got the results back, it made sense to me. So when I'm seeing all of these different matches around the world, because I was still trying to figure out how to use Ancestry when I first did it. So it's like I had African matches, but probably to a lot of people's surprise, I didn't even find that many African matches at first. You know what I mean? I had to really like figure out how to bring them out and like what to type in and what to, you know what I mean? So at first I was like, damn, where's all my people at? Like I'll see, so when I'm seeing all of my other matches, I immediately was able to connect that if the Creole people have ancestors that came from the Western world of America or Nova Scotia, then or the Caribbean, then that would technically have to mean that let's say with the with the Boston King theory that I was originally working with, if Boston King had indeed been my ancestor, that would have meant that he technically, before he left, he still would have had a brother. He still would have had a sister, a mother, a father, an uncle, a cousin. You know what I mean? That bears the same surname as him as well too. So once he decided, him and many others that went with him, once he decided to settle in Sierra Leone, that would mean that there would become a division within the bloodlines. And this is what all of our African American viewers who are watching right now, this needs to be understood. You know what I mean? Because while you might be a Williams or a Johnson or a Terry or a Owens or whatever your family name may be over here, especially if you're from the Carolina, Georgia, and Florida region, you very well may have an ancestor who decided to make that migration and settle into Sierra Leone.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So this created two different bloodlines at two different geographical parts of the world. And they are gonna continue on. When Boston King settled in Sierra Leone, he knows he got family in America, but it's like, he made a decision. So it's like he continued that lineage there. His family that is still in America, he knows that their son or grandson or cousin or sibling decided to go to Africa, but they have to continue what they're doing in America. And it's like after,
Exactly.
huh?
No, I said exactly.
Yeah,
On
after
point.
generations, it's like you're gonna forget. If nobody keeps this information alive, out of sight, out of mind. Whatever ancestors decided to go to Africa, or whatever ancestors decided to stay in America, both parties will eventually forget each other if there was no contact continuously made between the two parties. You know what I mean? Let alone the knowledge of the event even occurring. Because I remember back in school when they would teach us about the Revolutionary War, they don't tell you about the Black Loyalists. They don't
Oh
tell
no, they don't.
the Geechee. They don't tell you about the Africans who went back to Africa from America and the Caribbean and everything like that. They don't tell us about that stuff. So it's like nobody here even knows that they have and I feel like when a lot of people in the diaspora take these tests, they're usually looking for connections to these different countries, but the most recent connection, the most absolute connection that the diaspora holds right now is to Sierra Leone and to Liberia. Those
That's
two
right.
in particular have the most recent, not even just recent, direct
and continuous. Not just direct. I'm talking about for the last 230 plus years, there's been,
I can attest
waves in exchange. I'm glad you made that point. And the thing is that we're genetic genealogists, and we're talking about genes. Like, for instance, forget Boston King. Let's talk about us on this call. Baba Akimo is my cousin. He born in the same place where my mama and my grandmama born at, right? But look where I'm at right now. I'm in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Been here 10 years. I've had some children out here, and I have a wife out here, and we do some things out here. That's going to be increasing our family numbers on this side. I think that we're also short-sighted. We talk about having the 3 dimensions. We're 2-dimensional with it. It's either about where our ancestors originated at originally in Africa, or about where some of them may have gone back. But the thing, what I'm saying now is that with these DNA tests, we're able to connect with those who may have returned and those who we may have actually descent from. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's both ways. It's both ways, man. It's a powerful thing. I get excited talking about this stuff, man, because our ancestors didn't have the technology. They didn't have the science. They didn't have the technology. They didn't have the ability. It don't mean that they didn't have the interest. It don't mean that they didn't have the ideal. And I feel like we have now the ability to exercise the will of our ancestry as a complete whole. We have the ability to say, okay, definitively, this is who we are. And the identity crisis in the Black community around the world, and you'll be surprised on the continent as well. Not to talk bad about the continent. I love the continent to death. But even our people here have been miseducated. They have been colonized through the educational system. They don't know this information either.
Yeah.
As for me, myself, man, I've been very lucky with ancestry. This has gone beyond my wildest dreams. I never thought I would connect to Salone. I never thought I would connect to Igbo people in Nigeria. I never thought I would connect to Bakongo people, man. We got a cousin named Mayagi. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine anything like this at all happening to me. But it was my goal. It was my intention to connect with Africa. You know, I just didn't know how it was going to happen. But that was my goal all along. And ancestry, man, and I can't tell you. And another thing I did was what you guys was talking about earlier. I listened to the stories that my grandparents told me, and I connected them with Low Country history. Yeah. See what I'm saying? And when I started reading the history books and saw how it affected me also, I said, oh, snap. My grandparents didn't lie. You know, they told the truth. My grandma didn't lie when she told me that her mother, not her mother, but her great-great-grandmother came over on the ship. Oh, yeah. And recently, another cousin of ours gave me a actual will of the enslaver of Pedro. Remember I told you about that, Chief? Pedro connects us to Fatia, to Fatia. So now I have a point. I can say, well, whoever me, you, and Fatia is connected to Pedro, to my Pedro ancestor. Fatia sent me a picture of her father, and it's the almost exact image of my my 2x grandmother, Emma Jane Pedro. I mean, they could be twins. Actually, they look so much alike. Same cheekbones, same skin tone, same whatever. And I truly believe that this is the Fatia connection. That the family name is Mojahim. Well, say it for me, Chief. Am I saying it right?
Mojoy.
That's the family name.
Mm-hmm. Even what the brother is talking about, this family Tuaregs coming down in the late 1800s The time frame he's talking about is the time where our mommy Samori Toure had his Sofas. He had warriors that was fighting the British and fighting the French in Sierra Leone and Guinea. And the population was shifting at that time. The population was shifting from interior over here. And I'm just thinking about the Mojoy, the meaning of the word. You know, that name literally means we put flowers on the graves of our enemies. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like you had a lot of new people coming from other places and just getting in. She
told us that. And what you're saying kind of pertains to her, because she told me exactly. She said it out of her own mouth. She said, "Oh, your ancestors came from Mali." She told me that herself out of her own mouth. You know, and she's not even really into this genetic thing like we are. She's just been amazed, you know, by the connection to know that somebody here in America is related to her. You know, DNA don't lie. It's happening with Bakoli also. We've connected with Bakoli, who is from the Kori chiefdom, Taima Kori, the ancestral home of the Gullah people.
Kori.
So we found blood connections there, man. It's amazing, man. This lineage thing is where it's at. It's where it's at.
It really is.
It connects us.
It's not that far off either, man. It's not that far off. When we go into our documentation, not our oral history, but even this documented history, there's our ancestors were enslaved by some of the most prominent bookers in South Carolina history. Yeah, and they kept a lot of record of who we were and what they did and how they used us, who they rented out and who they didn't rent out, and what special skills was. And there's a lot of information that we also cross-examine to put everything into context, man. And it seems like Orangeburg County was the center of a larger district that includes maybe about 6 or 7 of the main counties in that region. And when you look at it, you'll find that Orangeburg was receiving Africans all the way up until 1858 in documentation. We know because the Wanderer, the ship, the Wanderer, the good ship Wanderer that went to Congo and came back with 400 plus people, 25% of them, 1 in 4 of them, ended up in Orangeburg District. Orangeburg District existed until 1868. So the whole time slavery was there, it was a district. And Aiken County didn't exist. Bamberg County didn't exist. Lexington County didn't exist. Calhoun County didn't exist. All of those counties were the district of Orangeburg. And so we find that the slave owners who owned our ancestors, our families still hold these bookers' names, that they were the ones who instigated and sparked the Civil War to keep us enslaved, to keep our lineages in particularly enslaved. Not all black, particularly us. We were their chattel property.
We also, I think what he was referring to earlier, and what directly affects you, Chief, is remember from Woodlands Plantation, the Azor ship that went back to Ceylon. You know, when they got off the plantation, they was able to go to Charleston to get on the ship that was taking them right back.
Absolutely. There's a brother. There was a booker, a white man by the name of William Gilmore Simms. William Gilmore Simms was probably like the top author of the antebellum period that was pushing this Confederate ideal, this pro-slavery, this peaceful slave society kind of ideal. And he was one of the main authors at the time. Some people have said he was the greatest author of the 19th century in America, you know. But we were one of our lineages was enslaved there, the Roe lineage, the Ruff lineage, and it's from those people, from those families who documented their enslaved Africans that we know that they had up to 50 people who was brought from Beaufort up into the plantation at the outbreak of the Civil War. We know that there was already up to 50 people already there who had been transferred from a plantation in Orangeburg originally. And so we understand that this was a moving population. And then on top of that, William Gilmore Simms himself wrote down in his letters that some of the Africans from that plantation They stayed in the area. Others went on up to New York. Others went to particularly Brooklyn, New York, York, Pennsylvania, where I was raised at, Philadelphia, Jersey, and DC area. The other place where he said Africans from his plantation went was they went to Liberia on the good ship Azor. Azor was the last ship that left from South Carolina and went directly to Liberia in the 1800s. There was a from 1865 to 1877, you had what you call the Reconstruction era, where blacks had some power. South Carolina was jumping. We had the most political figures. You know what I mean? We founded counties, like Aiken County was founded by Africans, by black folk. You know, so we was really doing some things in South Carolina. And then when they came with with the Klan and the red shirts and that white repression, the black politicians called for 1 million black men to leave America and go back to build Liberia. And it was one of the congressmen. His name was Kane, Congressman Kane. I know you probably heard of Bishop Henry McNeil Turner. He also was an advocate of that. I know you heard of Martin Delaney. He also was an advocate of that. They created their own shipping company like the UNIA did in Charleston and took one voyage home. And then that's all that they did. When you hear about the former President Tolbert in Liberia, his grandfather was on the Azor with some of my people from South Carolina. So this is we know this because we're able to investigate the documentation even of the enemy. We're able to read the letters even of the slave master and communicate with their living relatives and get clarity on what happened with our family. So when we talk about it, it's very, very clear that we know we have family who returned when they had a chance, and we know family that stayed behind. Like I said, I was raised in York, Pennsylvania. I mean, the book says clearly there's others in York, Pennsylvania. So they know what they're talking about. These families are large. These families are large. When Baba is talking about Sarah Pedro, she had a brother named William. Another sister too, I believe. So there's lineages. The belief was that Sarah's parents came from Africa. It's not a belief. It's on documentation. It's on the census from 1880, saying yes, her parents is from Africa. We have other ancestors who also did the same thing on their early census, from Africa.
Caesar.
So we know that they was illegally smuggling Africans into America, up the Savannah River, into Orangeburg District, all the way up until the outbreak of the Civil War.
I wanted to ask.
I want you to understand that too.
I also wanted to ask is so Sarah Pedro, was she of Mende origin as well too?
If she's related to Fatia, she would have to be, because I believe that she is connected to Fatia. That is through the pictures and from everything that I found out. That is what I believe. I believe she is connected to Fatia. Fatia is connected to you. All of us are connected somehow to this Majoy clan.
So the reason why I was because I know within the Mende people, there's also been and I'm still tapping into this more because I know there's a deeper rabbit hole of it, but there's a diaspora of them as well that have actually been created, and they actually have like small communities in different places that aren't really discussed like that. And I know what just sparked my attention was when you said Sarah Pedro, like her last name, and there was a group of Mendes in the 1800s that were taken to Cuba as well, and they were
we've discussed that aspect also. We have discussed that aspect because
Pedro Blanco.
Pedro Blanco. Pedro actually got his name he was given that name on a Portuguese slave ship.
Okay.
You see, and Sarah kept as she got older, I guess she must have remembered her father's name, and she used Pedro as her surname, and she gave that surname to her children. She gave it. Chief is connected through her son. I'm connected through her daughter, Rosa Pedro. Chief comes through William Pedro. She has some other children She had about four more other children, but they were all Pedros. They were all located in this triangle here in Orangeburg, and they came directly here. They didn't go nowhere else. They were right there on Highway 70 in Orangeburg, and they were in that area. And it's they started churches here. They came out to Brush Harbors. It's amazing, man. They connect to my family connects to so many different churches here in Orangeburg. We started them when we came out of the Brush Harbors. We started different churches. My other church is Good Hope AME, and Good Hope was like the main church here in Orangeburg. It's been in existence since about 1869, I believe it was. And many churches from the Orangeburg area sprang out from Good Hope. We have a Mason tradition. It's
amazing. It's amazing, bro. It's amazing.
And when you tie that into what the Goose Creek men were doing, we know that they were bringing Africans up from the Low Country. We know they were bringing them up the Savannah River through the Edisto, right into the Mason. We know all of this, and when I remember the stories that I heard from my from my grandparents and my uncles and everything, and I connect the dots. See, I might hear one little thing, a little detail, and I'll take that detail, and you never know where it's going to lead. You know, you never know where it's going to lead. A minuscule detail can give me a lot of information. I always say that Orangeburg is a small town with a big history. A lot of people people know, but it's the way you connect it to them. We're coming from an African viewpoint. You know, they coming from a European, a colonialist viewpoint. But when you look at it from our point of view, you can see it clearly. You can see it clear. And they was raiding and kidnapping through the Gullah Forest area like crazy. So many of my cousins had that Mali lineage, distinction in their lineage. So many of them. So I know
it's wild.
I know the fact they came through Buns Island. Because Buns Island, they were bringing them directly here from South Carolina. To South Carolina.
Let me ask you a question, right? But let me ask you a question for the record, right? So after slavery, after we came out the Bush Harbors, which was basically underground societies that we had in the bush, hidden away from the slave master, we would go there for anything, congregate, get married, baptized, whatever. That was our place. After that, after slavery, we was able now to come out and have a church, because you remember the Denmark Vesey rebellion. They shut the churches down until emancipation. We couldn't have our own black churches, but instead we would run away into the bush, into the swamps, and have our own little thing. When Baba is talking about these churches that our family formed, it was because they didn't have the right to do it prior. And the first churches were literally plantation churches. Yeah. People who was on the same plantations or neighboring, they were the ones who formed those first churches. Later on, they moved to the bigger cities and converged with other people from the same similar background. But those original churches that you're talking about, those are foundational institutions that we have to take credit for. And then at the same time, you know, you talk about Little Africa and with the Clotilda, talk about these all African settlements that were established. Now, I say this frequently on the show, but it's because it's the truth. I bring every sibling I have on this show, and they can verify it. My mother taught me and my siblings that we're Mandingos, that she learned from her great-grandmother that her ancestors were Mandingos. I grew up as a kid knowing that a part of my identity was this word. One of the reasons why, you know, I'm fascinated about the African identity. So me and Baba was doing some research, and we discovered that we had our ancestors created an all-black settlement in the middle of Cope and Bamberg, South Carolina, out there in the sticks, a place where white men couldn't go, a place where only we was at. Timbuktu. And it was we called it Timbuktu, just so you understand. You know what I'm saying? So we're not surprised to see that we connect with Malian descendants. We're not surprised. We have the stories. Yeah, we have the stories. We have the stories in our family. the slave master documented some things about our family, and now that we're able to do the genetic genealogy, man, it's just coming full circle. So I want to ask you before we get too far, what's next for you, brother, in terms of the research direction, and what can we look for in terms of documentation, man? You do such a great job. I'll tell you again, as soon as you drop the Sierra Leone series, it must have happened 5 times within one day. People start sharing it in different groups that I'm in. People hit me privately and say, "Hey, man, is that you?" I'm like, "Yo, that's not me." They thought we sounded like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm like, "No." Yeah. I'm like, "It's the same narrative. Like we're telling the same story." So when I found that you was taking what your mother and your father taught you and going with that, and I was taking what my mama told me and I was going with that, and we was coming with similar ideals because we was coming through the same process and coming to the same information, it blew my mind. It blew my mind. I said, "What? Who is this guy?" You understand? But I was so happy that you arrived. Let me say that I'm happy that you arrived on the scene. We need 1 million more of you, bro. 1 million more. I lost a dear friend not long ago, man. Last year. I talked to you about it before. He was a musician. American-born Sierra Leonean brother, was back in the country for his second homecoming, and he was very, very close with me, man. I lost him last year, and we just need more young people with the kind of energy you got for this country in particular. We talked about the coup that happened. You know, most of the brothers and sisters walking around Sierra Leone don't have this information, bro. The confidence that they need to have in their history and their identity, they don't got it. That's why they can cush. That's why they can just wild out like that.
Let me say this, Chief. Let me say this real quick.
Yes, sir.
I was surprised and happy when Chief first told me about you, man, because you don't find too many young men in your age category that's interested in this kind of stuff. You know, and I just wanted to let you know that I was really surprised when Chief told me about you, and I started reading different things and looking at your videos and whatever, man. And Chief said, "Man, we have to have this young man on the show and let people know who he is and know what he's all about." And he wanted, I just want to say, man, I'm just pleased at what you're doing. It is good. It's what a lot of these young boys, and I'm not calling you a young boy, but it's what a lot of these young men need. That self identity. It's helped me at my age, and I'm older than both of you. So even at my age, it's giving me a clear identity, and I'm happy, to be associated with this lineage thing that me and Chief have found out.
Yeah, man.
I just want to get that.
So what's next for you, bro?
Well, first, I just want to send my gratitude, appreciation to both of y'all, for definitely showing support. Y'all always show love all the time, every time, man. And it's vice versa for sure. And yeah, I'm really just grateful to be on this platform, to be able to work with you guys, man, and just keep on going forward. And I'd say going forward from here, really to just not only inform the people, but also start like the way how we're sitting here today and we're connected to each other. You know what I mean? From America, North Carolina, from South Carolina, all the I just want to create more awareness and connection within our diaspora, because I feel like the potential that our people have, no matter what part of the world we're in, is so powerful. You know what I mean? From the Americas to the Caribbean to Africa, there's different organizations, there's different groups, there's different people that are just like us who are mentally and spiritually aligned in the same direction that we're trying to go towards. And I just feel like if we can continue to just keep on engaging with each other, keep learning from each other, and keep on figuring out ways where what's going on this side can go hand in hand with what's going on this side, then I feel like the domino effect of the way things will come full circle would just be exponential. You know what I mean? So really just continuing to inform, putting out awareness and connecting, networking. You know what I mean? I'd say those are the next steps for now, you know.
I mean,
Good.
sounds good, man. Sounds powerful too. Well, I know for me and Baba, we're going to continue to do the work we do. You're always welcome back on this show for sure. But I know we're talking now about this Sierra Leonean American genetic genealogy project we want to do with the Gullah Nation of North America, and really inspired by this connection. You know, inspired by Sierra Leoneans taking DNA tests and Black Americans taking DNA tests and finding ourselves to be family. And what now?
Yeah.
And what now? What do we do now? Do we just take it and know, or do we come together and inform the world about this connection and help others make this similar connection with their own bloodlines? What do we do? And so we're definitely moving towards that. And for me, I think that there's so many African people in the diaspora already tested because of the proximity they have to the science. But there's not enough of us on the continent tested to really get down to the get down. And so our project will definitely be including getting some tests out here, man, getting some family members, some other people out here tested, and being consultants and helping them to reconnect with their families abroad, particularly those that they match with within the U.S. and other parts of the diaspora. So I would love for you to be part of that project with us, just in terms of being someone who's also, been through that rites of passage, you know what I'm saying, got your own story within the tell. And so we can put our voices together. Baba Akimo is currently writing a letter to the government here to introduce itself. I'm this, and this is who I am and where I come from and what's up. Maybe next weekend I'll be going to Corey Chiefdom for the first time. I happen to be doing work. We happen to already be doing farming work, educational work in a neighboring chiefdom that has its roots in Corey Chiefdom among the Pamende.
Yeah.
So we found relatives who specifically we've been in contact with on the regular, and I'm in contact with the chief speaker now for the chiefdom. Maybe next weekend I'll be up there paying homage for the whole lineage. Me and Baba, we still got to talk about it a little bit, but I'm gonna keep digging on this side too, because what I hear on this side, particularly from society men, ordinary men in the villages, is that they have a memory of wars being fought. And they have a memory of people being captured in those wars and being taken out, like whole villages and things like that. But to have the understanding that genetically we can find those people now. To have the understanding that genetically we can find your lost chiefdom people. We can find your lost people if we test here and we conduct the research to match them with their descendants out there. So that's the gist of the whole thing. And of course, we're based out of Orangeburg, and with you definitely having Orangeburg ancestry as well with us, because I've seen who you related to. Just feel at home with us, man. Feel at home with us, man. Welcome. Hopefully you can visit Baba Akimo over there in Orangeburg. You can walk the ground of the ancestors out there. You can meet some of Sarah Pedro's descendants, some of Caesar Hart's descendants, other than us. And you'll be able to really say, man, this is different, man, because I'm about to go to Corey Chiefdom and meet family I never knew I had. And you have the same invite as well on the other side, brother. So there's nothing but love and respect. We'll find a way to work together in a practical way.
Let me just add to that real quick, man, before we let you go, man. Like Chief say, man, we are chiefed up now. We are chiefed up. That's what Fode likes to say. We are chiefed up now. We have connected to Corey Chiefdom, and he's made the connection to the chief speaker. My other cousin, Bakole, we're in contact with him. So we're good to go. We're good to go, and you're welcome to join us, man, on this project and do whatever we can do to expand the culture, expand the knowledge, expand the history, expand the lineage. That's what we're about. We're about lineage restoration.
Yeah, I think one of the things we have to do definitely is get the four of us, three of us with Fatia, at least into a WhatsApp
Oh
group
yeah,
so we can introduce
yeah,
because I think that right there is he in DC, she in DC. You feel me?
yeah. I already told Fatia about you. She already knows. She knows your name, and she was like, "Oh, it's amazing." I'm not sure if I told her you were from Salome, but I know I told her that you were here in Virginia,
Mm.
and she was surprised by that. So man, if we all could link up or whatever,
Yeah, let's do
that would
that.
be dope. That would be dope, especially here being on the American side and show that we had that motherland connection. And like I say, we chiefed up already. We chiefed up
Yeah,
already.
man. Yeah,
Come on.
man.
And I look forward to really working with you guys as well too, especially on that project that you just referred to, because that's that's something that's been heavily on my mind as well too. Like I feel like that was one of the first things I noticed when I took my test. Like granted, now I've gotten better at being able to, like, I can find matches now and stuff, but like in general, I don't feel like, not even just ancestry, but DNA sites in general, they don't have as big as a database as they portray it to be to us. You know,
Mhm.
like, oh, they have a database, and you know, I'm definitely appreciative of the information that has been able to come forth out of it and the discoveries and revelations. But the data, anybody looking at it from the level that we've been studying at can see that the database isn't big enough to fully identify or really like bring that connectivity back to the diaspora in Africa. It's like, of course, you know, once after putting in the legwork, you know, you're gonna make it happen, but there should be more of a flow or an easier flow for that to
Yeah.
occur. Because one of the first things I noticed when you get on Ancestry, like if you, let's say you're of European descent, when I look at their family trees going back to about 1400.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
not heard of for our community. We all of man, look, a lot of our brick walls always start hitting in the 1800s, and that's
yeah.
never, you know, a lot
Even
of
in Africa. Even
ex-
in Africa, bro. Two,
it,
three
We've
generations
been
at best.
we've been lucky to find we have Chief and I share a great grandfather. His name is Caesar Hart. Um, he was born in 1780, and that's as far back as we can go right at this moment. But I would
Yeah.
love to be able to take that a little further.
yeah,
But yeah, that's as far as we can go right now is
Yeah. He's
1780,
African born.
and
African
he
born
was
man.
African born. He
and it's
was
They
African
bred
born
him.
and brought to the same area that I'm in right now. His name was Caesar Hart, and he has descendants all over this area.
mm,
Him, what was
Thousands.
it, Chief? He had his son had
He had
22.
15 sons. He had
Yeah,
15 sons, three
yeah,
daughters between 1800 and 1845. He was moved around. He must have had some special skill, but he was moved around a lot, and he made a lot of babies. At
and
least he had at least four women, at least
I,
four
I
lineages.
match up. I match up with 78 of them myself.
Yeah,
I match up
yeah.
with 78 of them myself, and I know for a fact that there's a lot more that we don't
Oh
know
yeah.
about. That
yeah,
we don't
Oh
know
yeah.
about. But
Then I think
and
he had a son named William that had 22.
yeah,
He had a son named Boston that had like 16.
yeah,
So they
and that's just from him.
his sons had a bunch of kids, and particularly a bunch of sons. So there's a big patriline. There's a whole bunch of men that's related in Orangeburg through their fathers. A whole lot of people that got that strong paternal line.
And
Similar
we
face, similar build. You'll see it.
and we believe he was Mandingo because some other cousins have done research on him, and the symbol that they use for him is the mud cloth,
Molly and Buckcloth.
yeah, the Malian blood cloth. Because we're not the only ones doing research. There's others that we don't even know about that have reached out to me, and I've some other cousins have reached out to me, and I'm connected them to me and Fode and other cousins that I know about because, like Chief said, I'm able to spot things that he can't spot because of the stories that my grandparents told me. I know family names. I know where we came from in this area. So it's amazing. I'm sure you can do the same thing with your parents also. So
Yeah.
you know.
And that,
It's real dope, man. It's real dope. We find that we have some, every family has like what you call prominent people, right? Or famous people, right? Man, this Caesar Hart guy we talking about, his bloodline mixed in with that Sarah Pedro bloodline and others, and I'm talking about Herb Adderley, talking about Harold Melvin from Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, talking about Jeremiah Shabazz, Nation of
There you
Islam,
go.
Temple Number 12. I'm talking about Baba Rock and his own on the lineage that I don't connect with in his family. Elijah Poole or Elijah Muhammad.
Elijah
So
Muhammad. Yeah.
we have these paternal relationships with these people, and these are ancestors now, but they're cousins. They would have been cousins of our grandparents and great grandparents from the
That I
same
found
place.
mostly through ancestry. The majority of my success has been through ancestry.com. And
Yeah.
we've been lucky that so many of our cousins in this area have tested. So I know quite a bit.
so yeah, that's
Well,
why
we'll get busy with that, man.
we got to keep on knocking down these brick walls, man, for real. Because these type of connections are the things that unlock the rest of the tale. You know what I mean? The parts of it that haven't been told to us will always be unlocked through these further connections. We can make these revelations on our own individually, but every time we connect to certain matches who connect back to certain lineages or places, it creates a whole new dynamic or something for us to be able to work within. And like in regards to the like let's say if we were able to just build our own database with just starting with Sierra Leone, 100 people, 200 people, 300, 400, 500 people alone would make a difference within the algorithm of these different DNA sites, and people being to connect back and find their recent family that are still here in Africa today. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it'll give the people that sense of pride and awareness and
Connection.
When you know who you are, it hits different, and it changes the way that you carry things. You know what I mean? Like even over here in America, it's like they've created this illusion as if African Americans, Caribbeans, people back in Africa, like we're all these different variations or different people, but we're still all doing the same exact thing, just in a different way. You know what I mean? The same way how there was tribal wars that were going on in the earlier periods. That's the same way how in America, how you have hoods that are beefing with each other today. The same way how when you go to the Ashanti kingdoms and you see how the chiefs are dripped down in gold from head to wrist to, you know what I mean? Way how the prominent people over here will adorn ourselves in jewelry. The same way how it's like all of these things are just taking on new forms in new ways, but that essence or that core root of who we've always been has always been there. You know what I mean? In every Black community, there's always been like a certain, I mean, some of them have transformed into gangs now, but before they were gangs, they were the Black Panthers. You know what I mean? There were different social groups who were pushing peace and positivity and elevation and trying to boost the economy of the Black communities that were here. There were people that were here acting as chiefs or acting as kings within their own communities here as well too. So it's like we're just because we're not over there anymore doesn't mean the same thing isn't going on over here anymore. Like the sun will set in the east. I mean, not set in the east. The sun can start off in the east and go to the west. But the same thing that the sun was doing on the east side is what it's doing on the west side. It's just on
Yeah,
another part
exactly.
of the world now. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And you know, the people on the west, the sun, the sun on the west looks exactly the same as the sun on the east. You know what I mean? They just in two different parts. It's just in two different parts of the world. You know, so it's you know, bringing back that collective consciousness of our identity as well too, and just reducing the tension or friction that it takes in order for us to figure out that identity. You know, for the rest of the diaspora who are trying to bring into that or bring that away of self to. You know,
that's powerful, man. I think you know, as you know, this is Gullah House Show, Gullah Nation North America production, man. We have been researching and understanding the essence of what Gullah identity is. You know, we've been reading from the white anthropologist, the Eurocentric, you know, versions about, you know, how things happen. But also, there's been a lot of breakthrough research in who we are and things of that nature. So when we hear about the Bunce Island, the Charleston Transatlantic Middle Passage, we hear about you know, the Mende coming and fighting wars with the indigenous people that was here first, and we hear about wars from the Mende people and them saying that the big warriors they carried them out, they took the warriors out and their families, they all went out. When you understand that, it's like, how they get rights in South Carolina and Georgia without us? Like, our population been there forever. It's just an unknown, unrecognized population. It's hidden within. The average person that you'll find that would be able to say, yes, I'm a verifiable Gullah Geechee. I got roots that go back to a certain place and ancestral bones buried in certain cemeteries in these regions. I got this heritage. I inherited this lineage. You'll also find that most of us have a Sierra Leonean connection and a Congolese connection within us. It's obvious. When you go back to the Stono Rebellion, it was led by people, Angolans, Africans from Angola. You know, they banned them. They didn't want them to come back in there after that. They was trying to make revolution. After that, man, they started bringing us over from here for rice production. They start moving their colony more inland and more southward. So as the plantation system grew from the coast, it was the same people that they used to populate the expansion. So it's very intricate with these bloodlines. This has been a great conversation, man. Me and you can talk for like a day straight, bro, because there's so much to catch up on. I got mad love and respect for what you do. I would like to say, man, keep doing it. Keep doing it. You're inspiration to me. I might be a little older than you, but what inspires those who are older than you is to see those who are younger than you carrying on the tradition. You know, still doing the research and coming up and humble enough to learn and share your information too. Definitely, you got the marks of greatness, and I would love to catch you here on the ground. Like, I was able to meet Fatia last time she came. You know, she's still on my veranda. We took photos. You know, I would love to welcome you home to Sierra Leone the next time you come, and find a way to share some of your music as well out here. You know, just you know, have us represented in full.
Most definitely.
Yeah, man. I agree with everything Chief say. Like I said, we chiefed up. I never thought I would be connected to Taima Kore, the ancestral home of the Gullah Geechee people and everything. I've been amazingly surprised by everything that's happened. I'm glad that we connected to you, man. You're always welcome on the show. If you in South Carolina, you come on. You come through, man. You come. You know, Virginia ain't that far. You know, Virginia ain't that far. You know, and who knows? Who knows? Maybe we could meet up in the middle somewhere one day or something. You know, but yeah, man, yeah, we definitely need to maintain this connection, this relationship, and everything. And I'm glad to have met you, brother. You, like I said earlier, young men like you, it always makes me happy to see young men like yourself carrying on. Because I started out the same way when I was in my 20s and everything, man, and I'm still going strong. I'm in my 60s now, so you know, I'm like I say, I'm glad to see that you carrying on the tradition.
The Last Griot. The Last
Yeah.
Griot.
The last,
Last
oh,
Griot.
ain't that amazing? The Last Griot. That see how
That's
that fall
right.
into play?
Thank you.
That's right.
I
That's right.
appreciate y'all. Y'all, it's really, I really got a lot of gratitude, love for y'all as well too, man, for real. And when I envision the type of things that we'll be able to do in the future, I just know it's gonna be grandeur. I know it's gonna touch a lot of people. I know we're gonna be able to fully be in alignment with everything that needs to be done. And I salute men y'all as well too. And you guys definitely have inspired me as well along this journey. Chief, I don't know if I remember telling you, but I remember the first time I think I seen you was on Spears show when he was in Sierra Leone, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
And I remember when I was watching the video and you were like telling the people what you're doing, what you're about and stuff like that. This was before I even started dropping my content. You know what I mean? Like it was motivation for me to be able to see like a brother that looks just like myself. You know, you've come from over here from the States and gone back over there, you on the ground level with it. You know what I mean? And you know, you getting active, you getting down to business. You know what I mean? And Baba Camo, same with you as well too. You know, when I learned about you and I seen the information that you were putting out, I seen everything that you were interconnecting with. You know what I mean? I felt the alignment with that as well too. You know, and I just also want to remind y'all, as much as I'm appreciative that I'm here, remember this is a reunion. The reunion. We not just now meeting. It's a reunion. You know.
That's right.
Man, I
Right.
like what you said before about the Ife thing and everything, and I'm in agreement with that. I'm in agreement with that sentiment. I fully believe that, and me and Chief always say that this is the journey that we are on. It is a spiritual thing. It is a Sankofa.
So y'all make sure, man, y'all stay in contact with my family member, my cousin, Meshach King. You know, make sure you stay in contact with him, and make sure, please, you go check out the Last Griot on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, share that joint. We're trying to spread this information. Make sure that the kids get it. It's very tasteful information. You know, a lot of people, they have pages, but they're arguing unnecessary points. But this brother is very good with how he narrates this information. Even a child can understand it. And I don't know, I think he's using the AI images, but the AI imagery just pretty much like it just takes your imagination. It's almost like a movie. It's like it's story time. Boom. You should definitely brand that package, and you do a great job.
Well, like you said, man, like you said, Fatiha connects us all, so we family now, and that's what we share a cousin, man, so we family now.
Yeah, we
just like with Candace, you know, me and Candace share a cousin. Now we share Fatiha, and it's not coincidence. So something is happening here. Something is definitely happening here.
Yeah. So with that, man, we're gonna let you go, man. Any last words for the people?
Thank y'all for tuning in, for sitting down and letting me, you know, let y'all get to know me, and definitely tune in to my channel, The Last Griot. Definitely tap into Nona, tap into more Gullah House shows. You know, this isn't gonna be the last. I mean, this isn't gonna be the only thing we do. It's only more to come. And you know, peace, blessings, and love to everybody out there.
Peace, guys. So we'll get on to you later on, man. We're gonna let you go. Thank you very much for taking the time to sit with us today, man. Appreciate you.
Alrighty, vice versa. Salute to y'all, man. Y'all enjoy the rest.
All right. Peace, bro.
Peace.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Man, Chief.
Oh, man.
I could have chopped it up all day, man. I could have went with that brother all day, man. But
yeah, man.
But this was good. This was good. I like it when we do stuff like this. I enjoyed. I enjoyed this session.
it's very important because me and you talk a lot about these connections to people in our family, and maybe they don't take us serious because maybe they don't take us serious as individuals. But it's good when we able to bring forth others
Right.
and people who we're actually connected with and connecting with. It's
Right.
saying that, wow, okay, so you're not just saying, okay, I got people over there. You connecting with these people? Y'all reunioning with these people?
Man, I wanted to say this too, man. You know, you ever paid attention to how many people of Salone descent we have connected with? You take Myra Davis. You know, she considers herself a Gullah Geechee of Sierra
Yes.
Leone descent because she connected her people, her Utahville people to that. I forgot what she called the name of the village, but it's in her book. But that's amazing, man. We keep connecting over and over and over and over and over
Oh,
with
yeah.
people,
Yeah.
and maybe they might not all be Mende or Mandingo or whatever, but they came through Bunce Island. Because I'm
Right.
starting to learn that some other tribes came through Yoruba, Igbo, whatever. They came through Bunce Island also. So it's amazing how we have been connected to these different people.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's who we are. We just didn't know. You know what I mean? We've always been this. It's just, you know, new
Yeah.
discoveries help you realize, like, wow, I've been this all the time, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like what you're saying, too. You know, we're talking about Bunce Island, but there's other locations. And
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
even when I went to Bunce Island, it has Gullah written on the tree. It
Yeah, I
has
saw that.
even the word that he was using in terms of Ifa, Egba,
Yeah.
is written on, it's carved in the trees. So you can see why our ancestors was like tagging memories for people to look at it and say, what is that later on? And so it's like, man, Bunce Island was a torture place. You know, it's not a sweet, loving place. It was a torture place, a torture site. And so, you know, just to see that we descend from ancestry who went through that place and survived that voyage, to know that we even had contact with stories and memories of the ancestors that help us now along this journey is so powerful. Us emphasizing and we're gonna keep looking into these Goose Creek men, keep looking into their relationship with Governor Johnson and the founding of Orangeburg Township, how they went about dividing the lands up, how that land was redivided and redistributed after the American Revolutionary War, what families and got what land, and how they was marrying and passing down ancestors. We're going to keep doing that work because I believe there's something deep within that that's going to unfold. Someone had to be involved in the slave trading. It wasn't just Charleston. They had slave markets all across the state.
Oh yes, you're absolutely right. And well, we already know that they were bringing us up from the Low Country through Goose Creek, Mounts Corner area, Savannah River area. We already know that. That's DNA don't lie. DNA don't lie. I believe in the science, and so far the science and the oral history and everything that we have been able to do is proven itself out.
Yeah,
It's proven itself out. Your mother didn't lie to you. My grandparents didn't lie to me. You know, the DNA proves it. It proves it without a doubt.
Yeah. They knew. They knew what they knew. They knew who they knew, and they believed who they knew. And you know, it's just powerful for us to keep doing this work, man. You know, it's nothing but love for you, Baba Kimo. We're gonna keep doing this work. This was a great conversation with Brother Meshach, cousin Meshach. And we're gonna keep building the family, man. Let's just keep putting the family together. If there's any reason that I believe our ancestors guided us to each other, it is to put this international lineage back together and show other people how to get it done, inspire other people to get started, and always have, you know, people have access to us if they need assistance along the way. So it's a great job, man. I'm fortunate to have you as my big cousin, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, what we say? I'm gonna say our slogan, man. Before we sign off, is many roots, one family.
One fambo. Yes, sir. One fam, both. For
That's
life.
our slogan.
All right, y'all. Tune in for the next episode of Gullah House Show in 2 weeks' time. We may have Sister Candace back, or we may have a special treat for you from Sierra Leone. All right? Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Jag minns ju den tid du gav mig life billar yo. Nu vill jag kunna ge tillbaka allt jag inte kunnat ge förut. Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh why. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för dig baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. Och det jag lägger all min tid och jag vill ha det. Du får mig känna safety. Jag kan nog leda baby. Och jag kommer aldrig än.
The Gullah people are a sub-tribe of the Koya clan from Liberia. During the Mani invasion, it is highly likely that the Koya